European Championship title for the lightweight women's single sculls. But now we go back up to the start for the A final of the women's pair.
So this boat class we've seen already this morning with the men's lightweight. This one is the women's open weight version, and the world record holders are in this race. Stanning and Glover from Britain. We'll see them in the lane order countdown, but
there we have it. Russia in 1, Germany 2, Great Britain 3, Denmark 4, Romania 5, and France in 6. This is Katerina Potapova and Maria Krajilnikova of Russia over in lane 1, moving into the pair from the women's double through last season. Germany's Kirsten Hartmann and Catherine Marchand are in lane 2. They missed out on a medal at the World Cup in Varese last month. Here are the European, World and Olympic champions, Helen Glover and Heather Stanning of Great Britain in lane 3. Denmark's Hedvig Rasmussen and Anna Andersen are in lane 4. Just missed out on a medal at the World Championships last year, placing 4th. Romania's Madalina Perez and Laura Oprea are in lane 5. And then completing the field, Marie Leneveux and Noémie Cobert of France over in lane 6. They placed 4th at the Europeans last year, so they'll be keen for a medal here today.
Stanning and Glover in shot now. Helen Glover furthest away from you, Heather Stanning closest, and their challengers here, the two from Denmark. And you'd reckon their coach will have told them, have a go at the British today, because you just don't know what will happen in this rough water. If the British are going to lose a race, maybe it's because they might catch a crab or something, so it's a race to go for.
Very tentative start in the German boat over in lane 2. Very, very easy into their second and third strokes. Clearly very keen to be clean and crisp there, but Helen Glover and Heather Stanning in lane 3 have really gone for it, striking 43 off the start, and it's earned themselves an early lead. Clearly very, very experienced rowing together in a well-established women's pair, and they're out to an early lead already.
Yeah, the British women, they probably row the best of anyone here at this championships, I think, and possibly even row the pair better than Murray and Bond, the two New Zealanders, of course, the world champions in men's pair. And the world record holders. Tough call to ask, but if anyone is less likely to make a mistake at these two women, I've seen them do all sorts of amazing technical exercises, paddling with their blades square, doing really challenging things just to make the cohesion really strong. They won't be put off by these conditions, but they will struggle in them, as will all the competitors, Peter.
Certainly will, but they're out there in front, nearly a length up on Hartmann and Marchand of Germany, whose bow ball you can just see peeking into the screen there.
Look at that. The boat is riding on that crosswind. This is where it's worse, Peter, and Glover is just talking to Stanning, saying, keep cool, keep calm. The Germans are right up there. Normally the British would be gone at this stage of the race, but the field is still in contact and the conditions are slowing the British down.
It's quite deceptive, that picture that we just had there. It almost looked as though stroke for stroke we were having the Germans move up almost 2 or 3 feet per stroke on Great Britain out in front. Riding here with Denmark's Rasmussen and Andersen, who are currently in 3rd place. They're looking pretty clean and managing to hold it together very well. Coming through 500, and goodness me, Glover and Stanning, I don't think they've been under this amount of pressure this late on in a very long time.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this race. It is a level at these conditions. Glover and Stanning would be miles in front of the Germans in flat water, but what a great scull from the two German women, Hartmann and Marchand. Just riding there with the Russian crew, coached by Adrian Spraklin, the son of Mike, the famous British coach. And these two Russians will have to go to the qualification regatta in 3 weeks' time, Peter, so you'd expect their form to be quick.
They'd have to be quick here today. Look at that, they're a length down on Hartmann and Marchand, but looking at this, Glover and Stanning are really getting into the swing of it now. They've extended back out to a half length on Germany. And they're really starting to ease into it.
Yeah, the water's flattened out a little bit, and I think Robin Williams, who's watching this race, their coach, will probably be breathing a little easier. But what will Werner Novak, the coach of Marchand and Hartmann, there we look at Catherine Marchand from Bayer Leverkusen in the stroke seat. She's on the left of your picture. Behind her, Kirsten Hartmann from Ummel-Donau Rudder Club. Behind her, and well, it's a clear water lead for the British now, but for a moment it did look like the Germans might challenge them, and still anything can happen.
They certainly still could. We're coming up to the 1,000 now, so they'll get some respite as they pass the island. But Glover and Stanning really showing why they are European, world and Olympic champions in this boat class. Starting to build it out. They've really settled through this second 500.
They're not letting go, the Germans, though. On the left of your picture, the two women, Kerstin Hartmann and Katrin Marchand, a fantastic performance. They may even be moving slightly back on the British. I know the speed counter, you can see there, the stats has the British moving slightly quicker than the Germans, but it is still close. They're in the hunt, and as the water flattens out, the British will move out a bit. Glover will call for a big push. Look at the move. Helen Glover has called it. Just as the island came out, Acapulco Island, the British put in a sneaky little push there, Peter.
That was amazing to see. And with each of those strokes, they made a foot or two on the Germans and just extended that clear water lead. So excellent time in there at the end of the island now, so back into the thick of it. And Germany looking really solid out on Russia. I just wonder when we're going to see Rasmussen and Andersen of Denmark try to challenge for a medal here.
Yeah, that will, but the British now, they've got that clear water lead, and Glover, look at that little upset, you know, that will cause them to tense up, but they do have, well, a length of clear water over the Germans, who will be having their own problems. The Danes, they just look to have tightened up. This is such a fantastic pair, and Andersen there on the left of your picture, the stroke, and Hedvig Rasmussen behind her. I sort of thought they might get the silver medal. They won their heat, and impressive performance, but they've just found the water too difficult. And there's the Russians. Well, they're having to go to the qualification regatta in 3 weeks' time. Adrian Sprackling coaches them out there. They've been training in Castra in northern Greece. Rough water there. There's the Danes. Look at them. And the shot behind, and there's the race leaders, Peter, the British.
They're looking so good now. There's just no stopping them. They've really settled well, particularly through this middle 1,000, and they've needed to, because they were under so much pressure from Hartmann and Marchand of Germany, and I think that gave them a little bit of a concern, but they've used the best of the conditions, and they've used the best of their skill and experience to build that lead back out, and they're still the fastest boat on the water, striking 33, as you can see there on the graphic, and just building and building that lead. One thing that we aren't seeing too clearly on the picture is Romania and Denmark's battle in 4th place. I wonder whether they'll be able to reel in that lead from Russia as we see them go through 1,500. Glover and Stanning out in front, Hartmann and Marchand in 2nd, and then the Russians Potapova and Krassilnikova in 3rd. There it is, Romania currently in 4th, a length down on Russia. So this could be quite telling coming into the last 500 metres, because the Romanians have been moving up.
We have seen the water flatten out a little bit, particularly in the last 250 metres. There's a blast of wind that they do get just as they come through 250. But it does flatten out a little bit, and that will allow these near side lanes where the French in lane 6, the Romanians in lane 5 maybe challenge for a medal from the Russians, who I think have profited from being over there on the far side in lane 1. That's the first in the right of your picture, the Olympic and world champions from Great Britain. The Germans in silver medal. What a great shot we're seeing there of the 1, 2, 3. And the Russians, they will try and hold off the Romanian charge, Peter, as we come into the last 300 metres.
So they're coming into the red buoys now, so last few hundred metres, and the one I'm watching is Romania, just on the left-hand side of that picture. They've moved up from 5th after the first 500, they're in 4th and challenging Russia for the bronze medal here. I wonder whether they'll be able to do it. The angle on the camera is quite tough to tell, but they've grown their rating up to 38, so they've already started going for the finish.
I think they're through the Russians. I think they're coming through them, the 22-year-old Romanians. It is difficult to tell, but I think the Romanians have got a sprint on in this near side lane, lane 2. The camera's not showing it, but I think we can see. What do you reckon, Peter?
I think they might just have done it, actually. There'll be a couple of feet up on Russia when we get the right angle, but coming into the last 30 metres for Glover and Stanning of Great Britain, they are going to be European champions 2016 in the women's pair. They're just about to cross the line. Germany are going to be in silver, and I think, as we see the angle come in now, Germany are going to be silver. I think Romania have just about got this. It's a matter of feet in it. There we have it. Romania take the bronze medal ahead of Russia. What a shame for Russia, but then Denmark in 5th.
It is possible to make up. That's relief. That is smiles of relief. Thank goodness that race is finished. Thank goodness that we emerged and did something in the second half. Thumbs up. from Heather Stanning to the Germans, and a big smile there from Catherine Marchand, the stroke woman.
What would you be saying if you were the coach of Hartmann and Marchand after that first 500 metres? I'd be thinking, you can do it. You were with Glover and Stanning through the first 500, and that would be quite a marker for me.
Yeah, Werner Novak, the coach of this German pair, must be delighted with how they handled the rough water. Well, a great first stroke from the British women's pair, but very soon their boat began to be unsettled by the extraordinarily rough conditions. And you can see the blade of Helen Glover. Normally you don't see them tipping the water. They're very, very clean, the pair. Keep their blades well away from the surface of the water, but the conditions were just brutal out there. And they needed all their experience, and it was that burst at Acapulco Island that really took them away from the Germans. That was magical to see experience come into play there.
Desperately needed as well. I think that at that point they were really quite worried that a strong charge from somebody else, one of the other crews, could see them under pressure through the last 1,000. But very well raced, Glover and Stanning, European champions in the women's pair. Hartmann and Marchand of Germany, silver, and Perez and Oprea of Romania take the bronze medal. We go now.